there's a specific mentality I feel like you got to have, like talking to other defensive backs, really at all levels of the game, high school, college, professional. Take me into the mind of a DB. It's not built for the weak, man. Like you get burnt in film, like you know your ass is gonna get ripped on in the film room, and not just that, but the media's on your ass, right? Like you drop one or two balls if you're a receiver, you can make that up with the catch. It's tough to make that up as a DB. Like, do you almost have to have a chip on your shoulder to have success? Because like personally, I've never been somebody that has that ultimate chip. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people don't, and maybe some people perceive it as a negative when it comes off as like cocky and arrogant. But to play defensive back in the league, you almost maybe got to have a little bit of that, a little bit of confidence in yourself to succeed.
Oh, you gotta have a ton of confidence in yourself. You to play defensive back, you have to be willing to be at the front of the line. You know what I mean? No matter what it is, even if it's not the sport, you have to be willing to be at the front and like, hey, it's me. You know what I mean? Like you can't play this position if you want to be in the middle or the back. You know, see how's it going up there. Okay, maybe I'll be able to. Maybe if you even questioning that, you're not gonna be able to do it because you playing this position, you don't even get the chance to do that. When you hear, you hear. When you're there, when the ball is snapped, it's now. It's go time. You know what I mean? And you don't have any time to really assess any of those things that may be in the realm of confidence or can I or will I or maybe. You just don't have time for that. You know what I mean? You're never really going to make it to the point that you aspire to be if that's what you are. You have to be willing to be right at the front of the line. You can't be, you know, sit in the back of class. You don't want to be, oh, let him go first and I'll go next. Everything about your mentality as a defensive back has to be the front of the line, no matter what it is, whether it's a drill. It don't even have to be football. Like I said, it could be anything. It's anywhere in public, in your normal day life. Your whole mentality has to be the front of the line. It has to be. There's really no way around it. I feel like a lot of other positions there may be some ways around it, things like that, but in defensive back, there is no way around it. Like things like one-on-ones, every DB wants to go first. All of them. At least the good ones. That's just, you have to be that way. It's just no other way, man. Like DB is a position that there's no secret to it. There's no like secret sauce to your mentality. Like some guys may be a little bit more cocky, I guess you could say, or just really more expressive with it. You know, everybody doesn't have to be that way. I'm not the most expressive type of guy. I'm not like the rah-rah guy, whatever. But at the end of the day, if when it comes down to a challenge, you know, I'm with all of it. But that's how I gotta be. Like it's no other way. So, you know, I feel like I don't have like a secret sauce to it. It's just it is what it is. It's kind of like a way of living.
And building off that too, I want to get in your mind now, pick your brain a little bit about like DB 101 and technique and what truly makes a DB elite in the league. Because we always hear names tossed around of like the best DBs in the league, but I don't think a lot of people understand like what it takes and what the skill set and when you break it down, like what the details are of being an elite DB in the league, no matter where you are playing on the field, really like what makes you a truly elite DB in the NFL, and who's a guy you've seen that does it best in your opinion? Like I'm sure you've watched like the greats of all time, but is there somebody playing right now that you watch and you can say like, wow, like that guy's at the top of the game right now, and maybe that's who I'm chasing, or that's somebody that I can take stuff from and apply it to my everyday life. And what are those things?
Man, I think you know it's a lot of traits that you know we could say that a DB may need. He may need some length, speed, you know, agility, and things like that, which is all true. But I think at the end of the day, it's just, you got to have a drive. And the reason I say that is because playing DB is like less than 1% of chance that things just go perfectly for you. Like you're rarely going to have that perfect break. You're very rarely going to have that perfect rep at the line of scrimmage as you impress man technique. Like everything's not going to go perfectly for you. And when I train with Tevin Allen and Gold Feet TA, and that's one of the main things that he teaches me is like, stop looking for that perfect break. Just go. Just get to where you need to go. You got to have that type of drive that you're not even thinking about all those things. I just need to get to where I'm going. You know what I mean? Regardless of what happened in between, get to the ball. You know what I mean? Get to your receiver, get to his hip, get in tackling position, whatever the case may be. But that kind of has to be your thing all the time. I think the great DBs, we often talk about technique and things like that. That's 100% true. Don't get it twisted. But all those guys have that type of drive that no matter how they got to the point of the ball or the tackle or anything like that, their mentality never changed, even if their technique changed or even if the play changed or the circumstances changed. Their mentality never changed for them to get to wherever they need to get. For me personally, and the guys I watch, of course I watch guys that's in the game today. A lot of times, man, if I'm not studying a team or a receiver, I love to just go back and watch a specific guy by the year, if that makes any sense. So, I'll go back and watch 2016 Marcus Peters, his rookie year. Balling, went crazy. I'll go back and watch rookie year Marshawn Lattimore going crazy. 2017 Darius Slade, you know what I mean? Or 2015 Patrick Peterson. Like I like to go back and watch guys by the year. It's pretty hard for guys to be number one or the guy, especially at defensive back every single year. And I think guys usually have their years, but that's typically how I like to go back to it. Guys, of course, is playing today. You got your Pat Surtains, you got your Derek Stingley's, the performance we just saw in the Super Bowl with Christian Gonzalez. You can't ignore things like that. But I still like to take my time and go back a couple years to, watch greatness and watch matchups. Not just that guy. I like to see him against certain receivers, and not because of the receiver's name or just the Julio Jones or something like that. But it's a lot of slept-on receivers that have certain traits and certain characteristics and certain playing styles that could make it difficult to be against, regardless of if they have a big name or their statistics. Everybody's in the NFL for a reason, and everybody has a certain playing style that got them to the NFL. So just liking to see certain matchups. You know what I mean? You may be a little receiver against a tall corner. Going back and watching 2017-18 Jalen Ramsey versus Antonio Brown. They're big names, but drastically different body types and movement types that makes it a very interesting matchup to me. Even watching in that same game, Antonio Brown may go to the other side and seeing AJ Boye, completely different corner than Jalen Ramsey, but very intriguing on the way things pan out, even if it's not a pass play. Just to seeing the release on the run play, still action going on over there. So, things like that is usually what I typically like to go back and watch.
I love that. And you talk about that drive on the ball and getting where you need to be. I'm curious from your perspective and maybe what you've been taught or the way you approach things as a DB in the league, are you ever guessing or is everything like calculated for you? Are you, and I'm sure this comes in with film too, like, hey, you've watched a guy and the second he takes a revolution past 10 yards, he's not breaking until like 15 or 18 and whatever that is. But are there points where you're just going with your gut and you got to break on the ball, or is everything calculated, watching specific indicators on a receiver? Like, take me through that process and what you're looking for on the field.
Well, we don't we don't really like to call it guessing. We'd rather use the word anticipating, because you're not always going to be right, even when you're anticipating certain things, reading your keys. Because at the end of the day, the guys on the other side of the ball get paid too. So they self-scout and understand that, hey, this guy may be anticipating because we've done this repeatedly, or we've only run this play or this route out of this cut split or out of this formation, whether it's 11 personnel or anything. Like, we only do certain things out of certain things because everybody has some type of, like characteristic, So I wouldn't really say guessing, but at the same time, you anticipating. Sometimes you're wrong because they made adjustments too. But I don't really, I don't want to throw DBs on the bus. But like I said, yeah, morely anticipating. We don't really like to guess though.